In the Terra leak, we found this Game Freak roadmap of all of the future planned Pokemon games that we're going to see up to Generation 11, right? This is over the next, I think they said up to like 2030. So the next 5 years. This is great. I do think a lot of items in here are going to happen. But I also think it's very important when we're talking about the future of Pokemon to consider that it's not only Game Freak that makes Pokemon games anymore. And specifically what I want to talk about today is the idea of Pokemon ports being released possibly in the next couple months for the 30th year anniversary of the Pokemon franchise. This is the 30th year anniversary. My idea, so I've been playing a lot of some classic Pokemon games recently in between ZA and the DLC. I'm playing Pokemon Black right now on my DSi, and I'm having some fun. I've logged maybe 6-7 hours. I was playing some Sword and Shield, but regardless, I think there is reason to believe and to expect new Pokemon ports during the 30th year anniversary. But I also think there are 5 things that these Pokemon ports should do in order to not only provide these games to fans like once more and make these games accessible, but also to just enhance the actual experience of these ports, right? So that way these are not just like, basically I want to detail 5 things that I think Game Freak should do when they, like, features that they should include when they port these titles, so the experience of these ports actually exceeds that of emulation, right? Which, we can all dabble with, right? So basically, first off, and I talk about this a lot more in another video, but just to hit you with the facts, the Terra leak right here, there's a bunch of information for what games we can expect to see, but there are other companies that could be putting out these games. Again, like I talked about in the other video, Pokemon Works could be doing like faithful remakes, etc. You can go check out that video on the channel if you're interested. But primarily what would not be included in this roadmap is the idea of just these ports, right? That would be, I don't know if that'd be like a Nintendo thing or if that's just like the Pokemon Company International, so like kind of like removed from Game Freak, above Game Freak. And these games would essentially just be ported out on the Nintendo Switch too. Could be an NSO app. It could be a re-release. Like, I mean, I think honestly, like a physical edition, or at least something to, put on my shelf would be kind of cool to have these box arts like reprinted in high quality. That would be pretty cool. But regardless, right? These ports, I'm expecting at a minimum, geez Louise, at a minimum, Generations 1 and 2. That's Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Crystal, Silver, the original Kanto and Johto games. These are what I grew up with. I love these games so much. And we did see these games get a release on the Nintendo 3DS, on the Virtual Console, and that was so much fun. It was so cool that they brought these games to official consoles, right? And I feel, and this was during the 20th year anniversary of the series, right? We're entering the 30th year anniversary. That's like the biggest piece of evidence. Like there's precedence for these games to be re-released. But something that they did, again, giving credence to this whole concept of like what features Pokemon can, or what Game Freak or whoever, right, can add to these games, right? The coolest thing that I think these titles did, for example, in Crystal version, they made it accessible for players to. They basically added a permanent in-game event. They like permanently turned on the in-game event that was originally only accessible, I think, in a like you had to go to like a mystery gift distribution in Pokemon Crystal. In any version of Pokemon Crystal on the 3DS, you can automatically get Celebi in the Ilex Forest, which was like stuff of Legends when I was a kid. Like that is just not even an experience, right? That most people had. Never mind in 2025, in 2026, right? So at a minimum, I'm expecting Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Crystal, Silver to be re-released on the Switch 2. That is just baby stuff, right? But here's the thing. The people who love these games, I love these games, that's fine. But the people who love these games we're a little bit older. I think the actual opportunity is to re-release the Generation 3 games, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and the Generation 3 Kanto remakes, Fire Red and Leaf Green. There are tons of games, or tons of legendary Pokemon mystery gift events that they could make accessible in post-game in all of these titles, right? We're talking Deoxys, Jirachi. We're talking the Johto Pokemon accessible in post-game of these titles, right? We're talking getting Mew in the faraway island. There's just so many unlockables in these games that I would love to actually play truthfully for the first time. And again, these titles, like, if you want to emulate them and get access to these events, that's all great. That's all great. You can definitely do that, but it's not easily accessible. It's not intuitive. It's not the same as playing like official like a handheld, right? It's not the same as playing a handheld on the couch, right? Like you got to have some proficiencies, and listen, I've got friends who do it. It just doesn't come to me naturally. It kind of just takes me out of it. Like, I'd rather be able to just play through the game, get to the end, and have it just like unlocked than having to like take my game out, put it somewhere, connect it to my PC, unlock something, and then put it back together, and then go back on my couch. It's not seamless. So I just want to cover all these ideas first, and then I'm going to get to, at the end of the video, the 5 features that I think need to be added and made accessible in these re-releases to make these games better than the emulation. So all of the Generation 3 titles, these are just as nostalgic for me at this point. I think I've played the Generation 3 games maybe more than the Generation 2 games. So that's an option. And then my kind of like dark wild horse possibility is the DS games, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. A little unlikely considering we just got Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but in 2026, those remakes will have been, they're going to be 5 years old. First off, so that there's a gap there. But my idea is that these DS games, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Black and White, Black 2 and White 2, could be brought onto the Switch 2. And there's kind of a rumor going around that gets stronger and stronger, basically explaining, and there's images of a patent for a second screen that you can include onto your Switch 2. My God, this just makes me so excited. And the idea is you plug that in, and now that's not only useful for giving people the I guess like a more seamless or whatever fun, I don't know, like that would be applicable for these DS games. But also, if we're talking about a whole new apparatus that you'd have to buy, I mean, these DS games, like the resolution is pretty small. At that point, just give us X and Y, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon. Listen, that's not really what I'm talking about in this video. Okay, those are all options, but that's not what I'm talking about. If we could just focus on Generations 1 through 4, let's say that Generations 1 through 4, because I want to get Black and White in there, right? Because that's literally what I'm playing right now. I got my Black version, haven't played it in a little while, but playing Black version, right? And I'm having fun, and I think I'm gonna do another video on the channel at some point, kind of just like I don't know. Let me know if you'd like to hear me talk about my experience playing this game in 2025. But the five features that I think any sort of Pokemon port going forward needs to include, right, in order to make these games better than an emulation, right? I want Game Freak, I want the Pokemon Company to give me a reason to play these games over Crystal Legacy, over Emerald Legacy. Those games there's so many beautiful ROM hacks, and they have so many advantages. Like so that's my point. I think these ports are necessary, as I've been saying forever, for accessibility. And that's not like I'm not trying to be like morally just. I'm trying to say, like, I have these cartridges. However, sometimes when I load this up, I have to, like, it's gotten to the point, my DS has gotten to the point where I literally need to take the cartridge out, and I need to blow on it as if it's a like a Nintendo 64. These cartridges, this is like, it's physical media. It's deteriorating. I can feel it. I can feel this stuff deteriorating, and I want to have access to these games long term, but I also just want to be able to play them on my Switch 2. And I also think it would be really cool if my nieces and nephews, or anyone out there who's listening right now who's never played some of these games, could easily get Black and White, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, whatever the games are on their on the latest Nintendo console, right? And if we're going to eventually get like a Switch 3, like these would all be compatible with that as well, right? So that's what I mean by accessibility, right? That's why I think we need ports. I want to bring these games back into the zeitgeist. I talk to people all the time, right, who say they haven't played. They'll name a Pokemon game that they haven't played, and that doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, if you're a diehard, like, wouldn't you be able to play it? But whatever. It is what it is. That's what I mean by accessibility. So the number one thing that I want to see, or the first thing that I want to see added to these old games, because this is becoming a massive problem for me when I play on my DS, when I'm playing Black and White on my DS, when I'm playing Heart Gold, Soul Silver, we need an optional speed up button, a speed up mode. I want to be able to, just like in an emulation, press a button and have everything go faster. Maybe like, let me hold down L, right? Back in the day, a running feature was so great, right? Being able to run around. Now I want to speed everything up because these games are so slow that it's actually kind of agonizing. I'm like 7-8 hours into this black save file, and I only have like, I just got my second badge. And it's because everything is so slow. Alternatively, if a speed up button is maybe like a little bit like, maybe something that the Pokemon Company wouldn't want to do, alternatively, I wonder if these games actually would just run faster and smoother on new software, because that is something that has happened with Scarlet and Violet. Like when I was playing Scarlet and Violet, when I play Scarlet and Violet now on the Switch 2, it actually runs really fast. Like there's all these little things that I don't think are promotional features, like, but they just make the game run fast. Like everything about the game is so snappy. So I need these new Pokemon games. I need these old Pokemon games as ports to run faster. That is essential at this point, because like like I said, it's agonizing to play these old games on my physical consoles now. I've been ruined after playing these old games on my computer or on an emulation device. It's like it's night and day. I've been ruined, and I want to see that so bad. Especially, like, I mean, that might be a little bit more complicated or whatever. Like, maybe that's higher of an ask for these older Pokemon games, but especially for Gens 1 to 3, there's no excuse why we can't make those games run faster. Second thing that I want to see with these Pokemon ports are multiple save slots. Again, that is just something that is a default for me. And for Pokemon games on the Switch era, like being able to like set, like basically being able to create a new profile and start a new game on that profile. I do that now. Back in the day, you make a save file and that's all you get. But there's no reason why I can't just start multiple save files. I like to roleplay. I like to play through a Pokemon game with a specific team, and I don't want to liquidate the team. I don't want to like kill the team just to play through my game again. I like having that main save file. So having multiple save slots, or having these games function in the same way that, like, a Pokemon, I guess like have these games function like any other game on the Switch 2 would be so great, where I can just start a new save file if I make a new profile. I think that would be so easy to do and would be really, really nice. Like, again, putting it on par with the emulation. Another great thing is in Generation, and this is mostly on Generation 4, but and beyond, but the idea of any sort of, like, I want to revive the GTS, right? Any sort of internet connectivity with Fire Red and Leaf Green, Emerald. I don't actually remember if there's like online connection with the Game Boy games, but DS or beyond, if, like, imagine that the GTS was revived, Wonder Trading could still be a thing, the Friend Safari in Pokemon X and Y, they could make that connect or make that function similar, or just have it linked to like your Switch 2 friends. Like, there are so many features from these old games that I no longer have access to on physical devices like on official Nintendo software and hardware, I don't have access to the GTS or any of these online features anymore. But if they re-release a video game and make it work with the internet, all of a sudden, like, there will be a resurgence of activity and interest in these old games, and that would be so much fun. Again, at a minimum, and I don't think this would be an issue at all. I actually expect this to just work as normal, but like Pokemon trades, battling, like I've been able to like battle my friends. I'm the Generation 1 and 2 ports on the Virtual Console and 3DS. I had plenty of Generation 1 and 2 battles with my friends locally. I think there's an opportunity for these even to function globally as well. I don't know how, they would probably have to create like another interface. Maybe it's completely random. Like you just go into you go into the Pokemon Center and there's a new button for like global battles, and it just teams you up with anyone randomly across the world. Trading, same functionality. That would be a lot of fun. A little bit of a stretch of an ask on that last point, but I do think that would be a lot of fun. Because the whole point of this is to just like prolong, or I guess like stimulate the potential of each of these old Pokemon games and make them reach, like, you just want to make them as fun as they were, or more fun than they were when the games originally came out. That's what I want to do with this. I've actually talked about, I didn't mean to do this, but I actually talked about number 4 already, which is all of the in-game events and unlocked. I got a little too excited in the beginning and talked all about the events. In Diamond and Pearl Platinum, there's so many mythical Pokemon, Arceus, etc., Darkrai that you could get access to. I think in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, there's a lot of Pokemon there as well. But Black and White especially, like being able to start up, like if I was able to start this game up and get Victini as players were able to do originally in 2010, right, or 2011, like when people originally got their game in March, and were able to, I don't know if it was internationally, or I don't know if it was like just at GameStop or whatever, but like people were able to get Victini at level 15 and use Victini in their playthrough. Like I've never been to I think it's called the Victory Garden in Unova. I've never been there. But there's, like, what about Keldeo? Where the heck is Keldeo? There's so many mythical Pokemon, Meloetta, that I think would be so much fun to have access to in Black and White, Black 2 and White 2, and they can make all of those Pokemon available, right? The Eon ticket in Generation 3, like, again, that's something that I've never done. I've never been able to get an Eon ticket in Ruby and Sapphire to be able to get the other Laddie. I've never been able to do it, and I know you can do it, and I know it's possible to witness that in 2025, but in-game, in my on-cart title, it's unavailable. I want to see that so bad. And I think the final thing, which I believe would be a shoo-in. Actually, no, I don't think this is guaranteed. My number 5 pick is that I want all of these Pokemon titles, any sort of Pokemon port that is Game Freak driven or mainline adjacent. And this goes for Coliseum and in Gale of Darkness. I want these titles to be Pokemon Home compatible. I pay for Pokemon Home. I want to be able to have all of my Pokemon accessible, right? If I'm playing as a trainer and I catch Pokemon and I'm using the same battle system that is established in the core games, I want to be able to take those Pokemon, bring them into Pokemon Home, and I'll go a step further. I think all of those Pokemon should also be able to be played with in Pokemon Champions whenever that game comes out. So that's my list. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about any of this. If you guys have any ideas, thank you for all of the love on this channel recently. It's been a lot of fun to just kind of like talk about what's been on my mind. I got my Christmas tree today. Yeah, I don't know. I'm having a blast. I hope you're doing well. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you think, I don't know, let's talk some ports. I also want to do a video. I think it'd be fun to start reading comments on this channel. I think that'd be like a lot of fun because you guys do leave a lot of really thoughtful comments, and I can read those. And I've got opinions. Like I almost want to start a dialogue based on what you guys are talking about in the comments below. So subscribe if you're new. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll talk to you soon.